And I didn't know if you were going to segue. Speaking of deaths,
I was actually. Well, speaking of deaths, every part of life kind of turned into a circle, unless you were the new Jurassic World, which
oof.
was DOA, Dead on Arrival. Robert,
It's doing fantastic at the box office, apparently. But
yeah, yeah, yep, did fantastic, right? Doesn't equal a good script, but you know what? Let me let the I'm it burning. Been burning for 3 days to hear your analysis on this because three words Robert said when I posted. I saw this on Wednesday. Not since Krampus, and as you know,
there's
listeners,
my 3-word review.
I I'm so. What do you think? What's the deal?
It's funny because I went with my sister and my friend Michael, and I was like sitting there just hating it, and I was like, my sister's a huge Jurassic Park fan, and so I kind of looked over. So Michael, in between us, was he kind of liked it, and I looked over at her, and she was pit. Like
Not
she had
feeling
like
it.
she looked like Krampus pissed. Like me and Krampus, like she was angry at it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and we had some people in our audience clap at the end. I was like, like, and I always go back, like the last movie they saw was Smoking the Bandit. I don't know. But I don't, yeah, so
Yeah.
not happy. I went in with pretty low expectations
Hmm.
because the Jurassic World trilogy has tanked big time. I mean, it was almost started off with the kind of, the Force Awakens, like the reboot requel type thing. It's like it's the same but different. I'm like, all right, I'll be with you for that. And it
Yeah.
it, it hit the right
100%.
hit the right marks, and it was kind of enjoyable for what it was. And then the second one just kind of went off the rail. I was like, what are we doing here? And then third one, I was just like, just
It's
atrocious.
unwatchable.
And so like, all right, let's start afresh. But
Or
this
not
was,
started at all.
or not start at
I
all.
know it's
But
all about money, but like we don't need seven films based off one Michael Crichton novel or and then two. I mean, like we don't. I'm sorry. But go
um,
on, go on.
and I know David Koepp came back to write this because he wrote. Let's remember he did help write the screenplay for the first Jurassic Park, but also don't forget he also wrote the
The
screenplay
Lost.
for The Lost World. So
And he
there you
didn't
go.
create the story
No,
of Jurassic Park. No,
yeah,
I mean he's a great screenwriter. I'm not
yeah.
ever knocking him, but Michael Crichton came up with that idea.
Well, I
That's
can eat a great meal and throw it up too, but come
he
on
also
now.
did write The Lost World. I'm glad you said that because I thought the same thing. I'm like, he
Uh,
also wrote that. Yeah.
so I know there's a human attached to this, but if anything seems like it was written by Chat GPT, it was Jurassic Park or Jurassic World Stillbirth, as we're calling it.
It's
Um,
true.
it is true, but yeah, because like one, let's
Still,
say it is. Well, it's kind of well, one the term rebirth really is not. I'm not even sure why it's titled that. There's nothing in the movie that
no.
indicates it should be. What they're probably saying this is a. They're saying it's a requel, and they're just calling it rebirth. But um, two, there's. I don't even know where to begin. I don't know if we're going to do spoilers, but well, let's say they take an entire scene lifted from the first Jurassic Park novel, which is has yet to make it fully into a movie, and now they just transplanted it into the movie with that. So we're talking about the T-Rex follows the family on the raft, and so it's almost not shot for shot, beat for beat for what happens in the original novel, which is fine.
Mhm.
It's a decent scene,
I did love
but
that scene. That was the
yeah,
only thing I really loved about this movie was the T-Rex scene was
yeah.
beautiful.
It does. I don't know about you, but it seemed like they had two scripts and they
Hmm.
just combined them.
Yeah.
Like one about a family getting stranded on an island and a one with mercenaries going to an island. I'm like, well, let's just combine them. Let's
Right.
get them together
100%.
for 10 minutes and then separate them. Somehow they're on different sides of the island. I do not know why. Uh,
Yeah.
they're all, yeah. And then somehow they need to come back together for the final 10 minutes. But I don't know about you. I can do with a couple nods to the original.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
like, they're after the pre-title sequence, they're in New York and they drive by a Crichton Middle school bus.
Yeah.
It's like, all right. And
Yeah.
then when they go to the museum and the the banner of when dinosaurs ruled the off is coming down in the same exact manner that it fell down in the original, like and
Right.
I don't understand like did they happen to pick the day on the museum was closing? Our museum's not doing well in New York.
I know. What's going on? What's going on with the museum?
What he said, there's only 12 people here. It's like, I'm sure,
Yeah, I
it's a
think
tour
they're doing better than that.
something doesn't seem right here. And how'd you get in? Like I can't just walk into.
No, right. That well,
I don't.
Scarlett Johansson said it was a love letter to Spielberg, and it certainly is not.
Mm,
There's maybe a text message to Spielberg. Well, there was a few Jaws references. If you remember on the boat, he says, "Well, this is my vessel.
uh,
This is my charter," and he goes, "Well, it's my vessel. I'm the
uh,
captain." Same as Jaws.
yeah,
A little too on the nose, but okay.
yeah.
I'm all about Jaws. And then they had a few shots on the uh, the stern when Scarlett Johansson has the rifle and it's
Hmm.
Quint. So that was okay. But to your point of the two scripts, I thought the same thing. It felt like two. I feel like if they just kept it the family, that would be a movie good enough. It's kind of like a Jurassic Park 3 in a little bit where they get lost and they're trying to
Hmm.
find their way. I didn't care for any of the characters in this.
No, they were all unlikable.
All unlikable.
I can't get past your love letter to Spielberg because I think in reality it was uh, a mistress wrote a letter to the wife is what this is.
That's perfect. Oh,
As
nailed
opposed
it.
to love letter to Spielberg. But
Yeah.
but yeah, and
Yeah, that
and
that angered me because when I after I saw it, I'm like, this is not a love letter to Spielberg. If
I
so, you
think
hate Spielberg.
that's what exactly I think you hate him for.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the opening scene where I knew something was awry. One, it was 17 years ago, which is a random. No, and in my head, I was like, well, what year are we talking about? Why is it so specific to 17?
Right. I did the math with that. It's
17.
5 years after um was it 5 years? 7 years
Who?
after Jurassic Park 3. There was no it didn't match up. And sorry to interrupt, but the island in the beginning is the
Mm,
fictional Saint Andrew Isle or something.
yeah,
And why is it in the Atlantic Ocean? Because they create these mutant dinosaurs there, and then they said this was never in any of the from what I remember any mention of this in any of the previous works. So they export them from the Atlantic Ocean to Isla Sorna in the
uh,
Costa Rica. Like, wouldn't it make sense to
it's
do it all in one? Like, why this island? It's just so
it
weird.
seems yeah. Anytime they all the other aliens they get there by helicopter somehow. I don't know how much fuel these things have, but
Right.
but yeah, so part of it is like I was like, oh, and then once I saw what I didn't understand is so everybody, and this is the pre-title sequence, so I don't really think we're spoiling here, but everybody's in full, what do you call it, protection or whatever, and so it's obviously a super sterile atmosphere, but somehow he's eating a candy bar and the wrapper or whatever, and
Shuts
then
down everything.
yeah, somehow a wrapper flies into a vent or a door or whatever and immediately short circuits the entire thing. It's like, well,
That's so
yeah,
bizarre.
you all deserve what you get if you're building some jackassy,
Right.
if that's if it automatically reboots everything and it opens every door as opposed to I don't know, but the part was like you need to make this like 1953 or something like that where like oh we didn't think through how this
Yes.
security
Yes.
works or something I don't know,
You're
but
right. The
and
inconsistency. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And then that bee, who was, because she's like, I was like, I think you panicked for at least 30 seconds. I think you could have saved that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
She's like, and I was like,
Painfully long watching him, and it's like I think you're okay to get him out
yeah.
because
And
you abandoned ship anyway. Like, why would leave him in there? Why aren't you gonna like abandon anyway? Apparently, you just abandoned the island completely. No protocol to like
yeah,
salvage billions of dollars and just let's just leave the island as is.
yeah, I don't know. And I was really hoping for this would have been great for a hard R because the words that would have came out of his mouth to her would have been wonderful for like
Oh yeah, yeah,
as opposed to just and I was just like why did you just kill I don't know but
hundred
and I was like
percent.
okay she's gonna have a 16-year-old daughter and you know what like that she still has not forgiven herself for like no nothing
Right, right.
these characters are nothing these are yeah so
The opening of the film, when we saw it, we were the only ones in the movie theater,
mm,
and it said one of the opening credits, if you remember, said in the after Jurassic World, yada yada, interests in dinosaurs have waned. And I said out loud, like gut reaction, yeah, so has interest in this franchise. And if you remember to your point, Robert, about the breeding ground there, whatever they're doing,
Hmm.
it's very inconsistent with this timeline of dino breeding because in the first Jurassic Park, Dr. John Hammond says, "Oh, I insist on being present at all births." And then in the second one, Lost World, opening scene, he's like, "There was another island where we bred the dinosaurs and brought them over." Like, okay, so you're full of shit. And then this one is where they created them, and then the ones that were mutant, they kept on this island.
Yeah,
Six,
they
the T
kept.
Rex. Come on,
Yeah, they keep changing. They don't know what to do, and I don't.
there's like three
And
locations for this freaking thing. Like, how many
yeah,
islands do you have where you're breeding dinosaurs, and no one's
and
gotten there? Come on.
and I didn't understand the dinosaur in the beginning that was in. Were they in Brooklyn? I can't remember where they were.
Yeah,
Somewhere near. And
somewhere.
did it just happen to be like? If you were like, oh, we need to get it, I was like, well, how did it get there? It's not like it's near a woods or you know what I mean? Like it's
Right. People are honking like it's no big deal. And guys, there's a dinosaur there. Like, I mean,
yeah,
I know what an elephant looks like. If there's one in traffic, I'm not just honking. I'm getting out with my phone. Like, whoa, what is going on?
100%. Yeah.
You
Even
know?
we've all seen elephants, but we don't see them. Yeah. But so yeah, it would be a thing. It's not like I don't know. But like you said, this is also a reflection on like nobody cares. There could be a dinosaur walking down the street and nobody would care in
Right.
Jurassic World films or in the Jurassic World
Right.
universe.
But
No
Robert,
one cares.
we are forgetting the worst part about this movie,
There's so
and that
many.
is the plot.
Oh, I'm
That
sorry. There was
Yeah, if you
tell
can
me
believe
tell
it.
me more. Yeah.
So the reason they're going to the island, I'll keep this spoiler free. This is a plot device in the first act of the film.
Mercenaries.
Mercenaries to get a pharmaceutical company to get a medicine for heart disease
Deep Blue
from the
Sea.
dinosaurs because they have the biggest hearts that like, come on, guys. If you thought about that too long, you thought about it twice as long as the person that produced this script because it's just so thrown together and bad. And there's a character Xavier in there. It's the girl's boyfriend.
Mm.
Um,
Oh, he had a
he
name.
could have had a better, yeah. They served no purpose. Like when he was with the dad and he like leveled with him, he could have said like, my dad was on this island and that's why something like,
Yeah.
but instead he's like, I got to take a piss. And you're like, okay, they never build the characters. They don't amount to anything. So it's all just chatter. It's just, it's so bad. And I think this is going to be a polarizing movie because you're right, Robert. You said people were clapping. I've
Oof.
seen people online that were like, this was a great movie. And I'm like, did we see the same thing? Like, do you think that's a good movie? Yes, the sequences were fun, some of them visually, but that's not a Jurassic Park movie.
No, no. And even and I will push back because they mentioned about coming from the hearts, but one out of the three does not come from an actual live dino at all. But
Right.
it comes from an egg somehow, and like that
Yeah.
that counts. I don't know. But and then and I don't know the names of the new dinosaurs. So what are the new? It's not the brontosaurus, but the huge ones with
The
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 super fantastic tails, and they're in love, you
which
know.
I don't think that big of an animal you can move the tail so gracefully. I think
Well,
like inertia. Yes, they're called the Megasaurus or something,
yeah.
Giganosaurus.
Which those tails seem dangerous. The tails that size would be used as a defense, and so I'm not. I
Yeah.
was waiting for one of them just to whack, whatever. And then I also was waiting for like an Avatar moment where because I was like, are the tails gonna intertwine? Like is this gonna be
Are they gonna make a heart?
something? Yeah, that I was waiting for because they were so in love. And then somehow, unless I missed something, they also missed the hundreds of them.
Titanosaurus. I'm sorry.
Titanosaurs. Okay. And they somehow turn around and there's hundreds of them. And I was like, well, did we just not see that? Or
Yeah, how are they hiding?
how
Literally
it,
hundreds.
yeah, how is there vegetation left?
Right. Did they
Uh,
create that many or were they
I
bred in the wild? And if
I don't
so,
know. Maybe it's
how
it's
long
all
was, yeah, I don't know.
these should be the dumbest dinosaurs. If they're all inbred dinosaurs, they should be literally the dumbest.
We, well, don't you think from the timeline, it was 2007 they abandoned the thing? Let's say they created five. I don't
Yeah,
know. Do they create, because they said this cost 72 million. So
yeah.
if you times 72 million by 100. Are they creating
I
$7 billion?
billion.
And
I
did they can they reproduce that much in 12? Like it does, it's all over the place.
There's a lot, and because the movie is so slow, you begin thinking about this stuff immediately because you're like, well, wait a second, what, how come this and how come,
Right.
yeah,
I feel so bad that this franchise has been so put in the ground. Like I love Jurassic Park. I saw the
yeah.
original 6 times in the theater. 25, 30 years later, 30 years later, 32 years later, I still love this movie and I will watch them. But just to see them make like a seventh one and they're just
And,
slapping the name on there. It's just so bad.
and
Like,
just it sullies it too. Like you're
so is it?
like, yeah, you just don't want to
Yeah.
associate this film with
No.
what you loved and whatever. And so, and I get, like they're here to make money, but you could do a
Yeah.
little something better
Right.
than
I
this.
understand you're not just going to stop at that money
Yeah.
trumps artistic integrity. Like, I get it. It's nice when you have both sometimes, but it's always about money. So, but you deserve a little bit better. I mean, I don't know how you can. I think it's like one of those things where the director, this was Gareth Edwards,
Hmm.
you're so close to a project for like a year or years, you kind of can't step out of your shell and look at it and think unbiasedly. But I would appreciate other people involved to be like, maybe we don't need so many Jaws references, or it's just like it was like a free for all. And the last thing I'll say about this is they have the reason Jurassic Park worked so well is the story was man creating dinosaurs, and that was beautiful. Once you establish that, you need to think of like new storylines. They're always just rehashing another dino adventure. Like
Hmm.
it's why you can't ever have Julie Andrews. You can't do Sound of Music too, because you'll never recreate Julie Andrews on the peaks of the Alps singing that. Just like you can't recreate Alan Grant's tears in the first Jurassic Park. What you can do
They
is
tried.
create another, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's why Jurassic World worked to a degree, is they created the park as it was intended, where people actually go there and you're like,
Yeah.
that's a first. After that, it's just another it's just a monster movie. And this one was just, there's no soul in there. At least Jurassic World had, like you said, it hit the right notes. This was just like a bad sci-fi movie.
Mm. Yeah.
I don't care
Yeah.
for any of the characters, like none of them. They were not likable. They were just, oh, I'm so glad you hated this, because I was thinking like, oh,
What
if
if Robert likes
Robert
it?
comes on the show and he's like, I thought it was good, I would
I
be
thought,
like, I would have to question my own like morality.
yeah, and I was just like, and so even during the movie, because we did have an audience, and they'd be laughing, and I'd be like, kind of like the Home Alone, like, what are you people laughing
What
at?
is
None of this is funny.
Were
This
they
is not a mute.
laughing?
They were, and then people were like, oh, at the what's the baby dinosaur that they usually, I don't know,
Dolores.
Dolores, yeah, and I was just like, no, get rid of that thing. Where's its mom?
Right.
Why are you having it in your backpack?
Yeah, get
Don't
rid of that thing.
why you have no food. Don't give
I'm pretty sure they're kind of heavy too. They're
yeah,
all bones and horns. Like I don't think you just put it in your backpack, and it's like it'd be like a bowling ball. You can't
yeah.
just.
And there were
Also,
so many other things, like even so as the lead up to the T-Rex and the rat, like what do you do? Why are you opening, why is your family across and why aren't they saying anything? Why do we keep having close-ups on like only open in don't open on land or something, like some I can't remember what.
right? Yeah.
It's like, what are you talking about? Like,
Right.
and anytime like a 9-year-old is put in peril, I'm like, who cares? Because and we know she's not going to get killed, like so.
Right. Yeah.
I
Right.
immediately check out. I was like, oh no, not
Oh
the little girl.
no.
Yeah, I
What's
would hate
gonna
it if
happen?
she got eaten whole. But
What was the logic between the they picked up what's his name, the actor, good actor, the African American guy from
her,
Suriname.
her kind of. I know you're talking about, but yeah,
Was his idea to be redeeming, because he had that thing with the kid where he was like lost. Was he supposed to be like a redeemable character by saving him, sacrificing himself at the end? Because if so, why did he live?
well,
Like, what was his point? I guess I don't. He was a good character if they expanded on it, but he was just like there. I don't know.
yeah. Is it? Mahershala Ali. I
Yeah,
can never
right.
pronounce his name. So
Yeah, True
so
Detective.
he and Scarlett Johansson, what's her name? Zora. Uh,
Right.
uh, but
Whose husband just happened to blow up in a car bomb and they just glossed over that. Like,
well, they kept talking about people we don't know and showing us photos of people we don't. I was like, nobody. And part of me was like, oh, are they talking about? It'd be nice if they were.
yeah,
You can tie it back a little bit to the Jurassic universe. Like oh, these were I can't remember. They got killed at Jurassic World or something.
that's what you should have done.
Or something. Yeah. Um, my
Because
grandma
that was
died.
its own plot.
Yeah, my grandma died in the San Diego incident. I don't know.
It
Who
was
cares?
something.
There'd be a little bit some. It's interesting that everything else was like nod, 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 and otherwise they're like we know nobody from the past 30
Right.
years. Like that
Nothing.
was tied to that. So,
Yeah,
and of course
nothing.
I was thrown for a while because Dr. Loomis. I was like, well,
Yeah.
why is he called Dr. Loomis?
Right. Yeah, Dr. Loomis.
Um, but yeah, so they kept talking about whatever, and then I thought, well,
Good
let's say the
point.
family. And at first, I was like, oh, his wife was, like, but no, 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 nothing means anything here. So
Yeah.
nobody means anything.
No.
People are just literally making the dumbest decisions they can make. Like the beaching the boat, and they're like, let's go through the rocks. I'm like, how are you supposed to get home? I don't know.
It felt like a pitch meeting that they incorporated everything in. Like, let's
Everything,
have
yeah,
mercenaries go. Okay, let's do it. Let's have a family get it done. Let's have them have a checkered past with the husband blew up and they're put it
yeah,
in the movie. And they didn't never they leave them, they abandon those ideas and they leave
yeah.
them there. And by the time the end comes, um,
I
by
can
the way, the
barely remember how
villain,
it
the
ended.
guy
Yeah.
with as soon as he handcuffed himself, you're like, wonder what's gonna
This
happen.
mustache twirling villain. Like, oh no. And part of it, then it felt cheap because I was like, it's just him. Like, what?
It's just
And maybe we're used to more of he's representing a company apparently and so forth. But I was like, I don't know. It just seems like
yeah.
I think we can overtake your mercenaries. You give up awful. None of y'all seem like mercenaries. You
No, they
seem
give up
like,
awful quickly.
yeah, inept people. I don't know.
Well, also you're right. They give up very quickly, and I don't know. They're just it feels very forced, and it is polarizing. It has 52%
Mm.
on Rotten Tomatoes. I thought this would have been like a 30. But it is. Apparently, there's some people out there that are like, yes, that is very good.
This
And
is exactly what we wanted. Like, all
I
right.
mean, some of the action sequences with the dinosaurs, they're impressive. Like I do like the T-Rex scene, but I mean, I wanted more of that, and it was kind of glossed over, you know?
And I call them the dino cameos, like the spitters, like, hey, everybody, it's the spitters. Like, gotta
Right.
go now.
Got it. Yeah, the Dilophosaurus came out, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, Nedry!" And but the T-Rex sleeping was like beautiful, and you're like, "That's adorable." And he gets up, and I actually felt like apprehensive. I'm like, "Oh shit, she's gonna get hurt." It's like you wanted more of that, and then they're like, "Here's a crazy beast we made up,"
Yeah.
and
Well,
the
we had,
Titanosaurus. Like, what was that? Come
yeah.
on.
The thing is, you have like, three or four red shirts where they're like, like no named actors. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll go take care of it. It's like, oh, bye. Like,
But
but that's we'll
bye.
see the last of you. And then like who's the gal that she was on top? She's driving the boat or she's on top of the boat.
Yeah.
And then she goes, let me just pull this 800-pound thing off the like, what are you doing, lady? And
Right.
then she gets snatched from behind.
Yeah, the Spinosaurus is like
Yeah.
blending in.
And then but there's more Spinosaurus all around, but they seem once they have one, no, they
That's
don't go
it.
after anybody else. Like they're
No.
like, well, let's keep going, everybody. Like, all
Yeah, I
right.
think they would keep pursuing them.
I would think that one little human's not going to do it, but and they go on shore. I don't know.
I don't know.
I know you're not supposed to question, or what did it say? Eat your popcorn and watch the movie. It's like, nah,
Was there right? Were there references to the original Jurassic Park in this? Like, did anyone ever actually say Hammond or anything? Like, yes, they did Dino when dinos rolled the earth. There were nods, but I don't recall them ever having a conversation. Maybe I missed it of
no.
them saying like the original park and nine. It was almost like I don't know. Is Rebirth? Is that what it is? It has no ties to the other movies.
That's what I
Have they
don't know. And
severed it? I don't
what
know.
is a rebirth? I mean,
There was no
yeah.
rebirth. It
Yeah,
was
so I didn't even know what rebirth actually
Stillbirth.
means. Yeah. And I
Stillbirth.
remember early, I remember the first pictures released when they had ScarJo and Jonathan Bailey. They're like, oh, they're playing the grandkids growing up. I was like, oh, okay, that could have been, maybe making the Hammond legacy right, or, something like
Right.
that. I'm like, okay, that I could see we need to go back and fix this, protect our family or whatever. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
okay. That I could have
that would make sense.
believed. Oh my gosh. And we're going to talk about how I feel like we're really spoilery in here, but I don't care anymore. But
Yeah, don't see
they
it, folks.
they have to get blood from three MacGuffins. I'm sorry, from three dinosaurs,
MacGuffin, yes.
and more or less they shoot it. It fills with blood, and it launches into the air with a
Oh,
2-foot parachute that lands in their hands every time. They could be on a speeding boat. They can be in a huge field. They could
in a
be, I don't know
cave
where, yeah, in a cave. They catch this thing,
or
no
a cliff. Yeah.
problem. Yeah,
What,
no trouble. Yeah.
and there was no like, oh, hey, we're zoning it in on the infrared and we are droning it back. No, it would just land, and you're
They
like,
just let catch it.
that's the easiest way to
And
do it,
there's always a
really?
little glass clink when they catch. I was like, well, how fragile is this thing?
It was like the ooze
Clink.
and
Yeah,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles too. Like
I
it
don't
was
know.
just so
And they
ridiculous.
immediately put it in a freezer suitcase, and I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, it's
the
got to be
MacGuffin.
the blood from the heart or placenta from an egg. I don't know. Either way is fine.
Either way is fine. It was
Either way is
so.
fine.
Yeah, you're so right though about that. There's so many things wrong with that. I don't know. It's
And
just so
then
bad.
they end up there's still electricity after 20 years. And it's still playing music at what is this
Stand by
the
me.
gas station or something like that? Like I don't know.
Yeah, right. That was. I mean, if you want to break down the technical inconsistencies, the park hasn't been there, or the
The-
center, in 20 years.
yeah,
The research facility, but like a switch that there's no circuit breakers. They just somebody was made that generator was being maintained, and
it still turns on every night or something. I
I
don't
don't.
know. And then we can't fit only who can fit through these bars? Oh, I don't know.
And what were those the hybrid dinosaurs that were chasing them in there with a raptor slash
The turkeys, yeah,
pteranodon or something?
yeah, yeah. I
Ay, ay, ay. I won't watch Jurassic Park for a while. That left a bad
Yeah, yeah,
taste.
because you'll just now you're going to remember this movie,
Yeah,
and you're like, which is not what you want to do, but
that's why you said Sully the franchise.
it did. So,
Better off. Well, that's
so
it.
anyway,
That's our
go see
review.
it, go see it, folks.
Go see it. You'll love it.